So recently I posted a full process video of the concept art Serenity, and I know it's a 43-minute long video even though it's a time lapse. So for those of you who don't want to sit through all of that, watching me duplicate and move stuff around, here's a short breakdown video of the same artwork. Now I've tried to cover as much as possible, but if I miss anything, I apologize in advance, but you can always check out the full process video for more details. Alright, let's jump right in. Let's go through some basic setup. I'm using cycles. Denoising is off for now. Keep the noise threshold to 0.1 if you don't have a high-end machine, and turn it back on to 0.01 when you're rendering the final output. Let's split the window and have the camera view on the right hand side. Speaking of camera, I'm going to set this to orthographic view for now. This will keep all the lines straight as I'm having the object facing straight to the camera. So yeah, you can turn the guides on for better composition. Okay, this is more of a personal preference, but I like to lower the exposure a little bit and set the color look to medium to high contrast for a more dramatic look. One last thing, let's set up a placeholder environment texture. For now, I'm using the default sky texture in Blender, and I've turned down the air and strength a bit. Okay, scene blocking is crucial. It's where you decide the overall composition, where the main subject goes, how the secondary details are arranged, and where the camera is focusing. This helps you establish the visual hierarchy and prioritizes the areas for details. In this case, I'm placing a simple block in the center, slightly above the middle line, and this will be my primary object. Then I'll roughly position the floor, the stairs, the platform, and the support beams. Don't worry about the perfect detail, it's just a basic idea of the layout. And the best part about this is you get to cheat a little bit. Like in this case, my camera view is blocking the back portion, so I can put less efforts in the back part and I can focus more on the detailing of the front part. Okay, now that we have a solid foundation, let's add some details like the support beam, the backyard, the roof, and the partitions. I'm gonna add some fence railings on all the sides. So let's make a base structure like this, add an array modifier, and just duplicate, rotate, and place. Similarly for the stairs, add a plane, scale it down, and extrude till it looks like this. Add an array modifier, duplicate, move, and place. Let's do some windows and doors. Add a cube, place it, select the house, and add a boolean modifier. Set the cube as target. Now set the viewport display of the cube to bounds and duplicate it. Go to edit, add a loop cut, and set and extrude in opposite direction. Extrude the bottom face to make a ledge. Do the same process for the windows and doors as well. Make a separate collection for all the cutters and the boolean objects and set the visibility and render off for this collection. To make the corrugated sheets, add a plane, scale it on y-axis. Go to edit mode, add loop cuts, select alternate edges and move it on z-axis. Add some bevel while selected and add an array modifier. Duplicate, move, and place. The water tank on the bottom. Add a cylinder, go to edit mode, insert the faces, select the face, turn on proportional editing and move it on x-axis. Now add a mirror modifier and select the right axis. Add some details if you want. The lift. Add a cylinder, set the vertices to 8, go to edit mode and start experimenting. Grab some reference images if you want, but I'm just gonna wing it. I'm using scale and extrude here, nothing fancy. And similarly for the top. Now for the open structure, add a loop cut somewhere in the middle and select the top faces, insert individually and delete. When you're done with the structure, add a solidify modifier. The antenna is just a cylinder with extrude on y-axis and array modifier for the top part. Let's make some wires. This is an interesting one. Add a single vertex, go to edit mode and make sure you're on vertex mode. Select an extrude on x-axis, add some loop cuts, select the vertex on both ends and assign them in vertex group. Now go to cloth simulation and select the vertex group in pin group and play the animation. Increase the speed multiplier and play with the setting till you get something like this. Once you're done, go to objects and convert to curves, add some geometry, and you're done with wires. Now duplicate, rotate, scale and place. Now depending on how much time you want to spend on the scene, you can choose the level of details you want to add. For the backyard, since it's not going to be in focus, I've added some basic cubes and cylinder to populate the scene. Okay. Before we start texturing, make sure you apply all transformation. In my case, I'm just gonna apply the scale. So select all and apply scale. Right, now I wanted all of these objects to have similar wood material, to have a sort of monotone look to it. So I'm just gonna add one material to all. I'm using Blender Kit, free add-on for this, and I'm gonna use this material. So let's apply this. Let's apply this to all the objects. So select all the objects and select the applied object at last and link materials. I've added some ambient occlusion to the mix to get some dark edges. And I'm going to use this rusted material for the corrugated sheets and the water tank. Now let's go through the objects and adjust the UVs. In most cases, a cube projection should work fine, but if it doesn't, you can just use the Smart UV project. Make sure you apply all the array modifiers and adjust the UVs. Alright, let's move on to the lighting. I'm using a night HDRI from Polyhaven. Link is in the description. And adjust the strength and mapping to somewhat like this. Add some point lights to the lamp. Yep. And to wrap it all off, some extra details. I'm adding some fog to the whole scene. So add a cube, cover the whole area, add a principal volume, add a noise texture and a color ramp. Play with these values till you get something like this. And I'm also going to add some extra dense fog on the bottom. So add a cube covering the bottom part, add a principal volume, add a gradient texture and a noise texture. Play with the color ramp of noise texture to get the dense fractal fog, and play with the color ramp of the gradient texture to get a nice fall off, and use this as a factor in the mix node. Combine them using mix node and plug this into the density of principal volume, and there you have it. I've tried to cover as much as I can, but if I miss anything, please check out the full process video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.